AI image models have gotten really good, and they can be used for testimonials, Times Square billboard mockups, real estate visualizations, product mockups, YouTube thumbnails, giving your business a much higher perceived value. But most business owners only use AI images at a very basic level. However, after generating over 10,000 AI images, I can show you the best 8 use cases for AI images across every type of business. Now, there's a lot of different AI image models, so which one should you use? Well, the model that we are going to use is going to be Nano Pro, because not only is this extremely realistic, it's also very good at editing images, which is what we want. You can use Nano Pro inside of the Gemini app when you click on this create image button, but as you can see under my camera here, there's going to be a watermark. And also we don't have the ability to choose the aspect ratio. That's why we're going to use Google AI Studio. Now, if you've never used it before, it's really easy. Don't be intimidated by all these buttons. This basically gives us the ability to customize the image more, which is what we want. So all you got to do is type in Google AI Studio and click on the first link. But once you're inside of here, underneath the prompt box down here, you want to click on this key right here. And if you don't have a project, just click on create project and name your project. And underneath key, if you don't have a key already, just click on create API key. I'm going to name this recording for subscribers. So just make sure you subscribe in order to watch this video. I'm obviously kidding, but let's just click on create key. And there we go, we have our key. Now we can click on next. So then we can just click on set up billing. It'll bring you to this page where it'll want you to sign into your account. And as you can see here, we have $300 in free Google API credits. So just select the account you want, click on agree and continue. And then it's going to ask you for your contact information and for a payment method. So just add that and click on start free. And as you can see, we're in our project. So then there's a button to click refresh billing page. I click that and now we can click on next. Then I'm going to select the key and we have our key. As you can see, that was very easy to set up. So then in order to use Nano Pro, it's typically just defaulted up here. If it's not, you can just type it in and then you'll find it just like this. Now make sure to use Gemini 3 Pro Image Preview and not Gemini 2.5 Flash. But anyway, back to our model selection, we can select Nano Pro, we can send off the same prompt about the cat, and now we have this pop-up where we can enable Google Drive so that we can save the histories of our chats. So I am going to enable that, just connect it to your account, and now you have history of your chats. But as you can see, by clicking on this image, there is no Google watermark in this image and we are free to use this now. Right, so let's get into the first use case that you can use AI images for inside of your business. Now, I'm going to start by making a new chat. So I'm going to click on playground over here and we have a new chat. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag my logo inside of Google AI Studio. Again, if you get some pop-up, you can just acknowledge it. And just for context, this is what my logo looks like. So for the very first prompt, I'm basically going to generate images of mock-ups for cups, pens, hoodies, etc. with my logo. And if you're thinking, oh, but I don't even need products, I don't have hoodies, whatever. Even if you don't have any products, you could use it for something like an info product to give it a higher perceived value. So for example, for Alex Hormozzi's book launch, we can see just up here that he used all of these sort of assets that give his info products a much higher perceived value. And he done this for most of his info products throughout the entire book launch, for downsells, upsells, etc. So we got the result, and I'll show you in just a second, but just understand that I'm not here to just show you that you can add a logo onto a hoodie. We kind of all know that you can do this with AI images, but to be creative with what you're using these images for. So if we take a look at the example, it took 40 seconds, we can see this is an extremely professional, very nice image of my logo on different products. And I have so many more use cases just like this coming up, so make sure you watch until the end. Now the next use case is going to be completely different, so we're jumping into real estate straight away. And here we have an aerial photograph of some land. And this time I am going to change the aspect ratio because this is why I want to use Google AI Studio. So instead of auto, I'm going to select this and we're going to choose 16:9. The resolution, I can keep it at 1K, but again, we can change this up to 4K so that we have a high quality resolution. And you know what, let's just change it to 4K, why not? Now pay attention to my prompts. These are very short, simple prompts. You do not need to be a prompt engineer to create these AI images. All I'm saying here is to generate a visualization on the construction plot, marked in red, of a 2-floor house with a garage and balcony. Then I just give it some more details and that's about it. Now this same concept I actually use for my personal life for example, furniture or gym equipment. Now for example, I was recently building a gym out my garden and I was going to paint all the walls black because I just wanted a nice dark theme. And so I wanted to send the images of before into Nano Pro just so I can see what it's going to look like when everything is black. And when I got back the final images, I noticed that making everything black made the gym feel tiny in comparison as to if we made everything white. So that's just a real world use case that I actually use Nano Pro for. And so for any brick and mortar business out there, I highly recommend you to use Nano Pro for visualizations, not just of buildings like this, but in your own personal business. Now, obviously, this is a video about AI images, but with good AI images, that's how you actually create these AI videos like you see on screen right now. You need the AI images. And as you can see, these go very viral. This has almost 75,000 likes on Instagram. So you can also use AI images to create AI videos for your own business or just to go viral on Instagram. So I think you understand the point of using AI images to change products, to change clothes, to change environments, buildings, whatever it is you want. It's honestly up to your creativity with how you use this powerful tool. So the next use case I want to show you is going to be for testimonials. So over here, I have some testimonials from the Editing Evolution, which is basically where I actually teach editors how to edit videos and make money through video editing and how to leverage AI to land more clients and edit faster. If you're curious, I explain everything in this 11-minute video. You can just check it out, links down below. And if you want to test it out, we also have a full refund guarantee. But that's besides the point. The reason I'm showing you this is because I have some testimonials that I want to showcase in a nice visual way. So here I took a screenshot of these testimonials. And so I provided that screenshot and I provided my logo, and then I have this prompt. I'm going to press Shift Enter so it starts generating. But basically I wanted to create the testimonials section for a landing page using my branded colors. And I also wanted to incorporate the logo as a watermark or a repeated pattern in the background. And so this might work even better if you have, for example, images of your actual clients. So then you can generate something like this. For example, you have your testimonial, you have an image of a man on the left, then you have the testimonial that they gave, and then you have their name. And also a quick tip for Nano Banana Pro, literally something like this is very good reference that we can then screenshot and paste into Google AI Studio for it to understand where I want the different aspects of my image or the different assets. And this literally took me 4 seconds, but now Nano Banana Pro is going to know, okay, I just need to have the person on the left, testimonial, and the text on the bottom right. And so that's a really good tip for anyone who's struggling with proportions or with positioning of certain aspects. And so this is what I got as a result. I'm not too happy with this, but earlier in the day when I generated this again, I had this result, which I liked a lot more, which was super clean. Again, it followed everything that I wanted. It created a nice visual for this. In the past, you need to spend a lot of money to hire people just to do this, and it would take a lot of time. But now I'm generating so many different assets in such a short amount of time, and we still have so many more use cases to go through. Okay, so the next use case might seem like it's only for corporate businesses, but let me explain my reasoning behind it. So before I do, I'm going to send a report. So I'm going to wrap this in XML tags, and then I'm going to send the task. Now the report is just a lot of information about recent AI models that dropped. It doesn't look nice, it's a lot of text, and I prefer to look at visuals rather than text. So even for something like this, for generating some sort of an infographic, you might think it's only for presentations for a company, whatever, which of course it can be useful for, but it can also be useful for videos, for VSLs, for landing pages, so that you have visuals of whatever it is that you're showcasing. So now we can see all of this information here got condensed down into a very simple chart. However, you can see that I used these for previous videos. For example, you can see here when I was making a video on Comfy UI, I've used so many of these infographics to condense information and also to make it easier to look at, more visual, and to give it a higher perceived value. If we skim through the video, you can see here that everything is in the same style with this blue background with clouds in the sky. And also keep in mind that these prompts were very basic as well. I basically gave it a style that I wanted to follow and the information that it needs to create the visual with. And since Nano Banana Pro is a reasoning model, it can create these without a super complicated prompt. And if you're curious where I get my styles for AI images, I like to use Midjourney. You can see here on the right, I have a style for basically every single image that I generate, I use a style for. If you want, you can just find these on the Explore page and use some of these as styles. Or again, if you want, I have all of my styles that I've used in the past and I constantly update it inside of the Editing Evolution as well. But that is what is going to allow you to create these images without needing a super extensive prompt, is by using styles. Okay, I'm going to send off my next prompt. This one's a little bit more detailed, but I'll explain what it is in just a second. I want to give you another tip inside of Nano Banana Pro, which is the system instructions over here. If you notice that you are constantly repeating yourself in the prompts and you have a specific style that you want to do, then just create a new instruction in your system instructions. This is basically a predefined input that guides the context for how the AI will respond. So in our use case, how Nano Banana Pro is going to generate the image. Anyways, in this prompt, what I basically asked for is to create some sort of a post. So this can be used for ads, for example. If you're running ads on Instagram, Meta, YouTube, whatever it is, sometimes you see those ads that are just an image, right? Again, all I gave is the logo and a simple prompt, and we have this custom-made banner ready with one prompt. Now, obviously, I'm going to change some stuff here. I don't like the fact that there's so much text. I don't like the fact that this text is colored, but again, this is just one prompt away. I can literally just change all of the text and make sure all of the text is white. Do not have any gradients or colors as text. I'm using voice transcription, by the way, but now I can just change anything I want with just one prompt. So if something doesn't work out for you, don't be afraid to go and customize it to your own likings, because it doesn't take that long to generate and it's very easy to do. I mean, even if you're not going to use these tools for yourself, you should send this to your employees, you should send this to your friends, to your business partners, to other entrepreneurs, so that they can understand how to use these tools. Because if you are the leader of a business, you want your coworkers, your employees, whatever, to use these tools so that they are more efficient. If they are creating all of this from scratch, then they are wasting their own time and you're not using them to their fullest potential. So I wouldn't discourage you from hiring employees. I would encourage you to have them working with these tools as well. But as you can see, one prompt, it generated what I wanted. Everything can be customized. We can add less text, whatever it is that we want. It's super easy. I think you get the point. Now, to buy some real estate on a New York Times billboard, you can be spending from $1.5 thousand a month up to $50,000 a day, depending on the location. So if we want the prime real estate in Times Square, we'll be spending a lot of money. But if you want to use this for your own marketing campaign, you could just send the image of Times Square, send your logo, and get back an image of your logo on New York Times Square. Obviously, this doesn't really fit that well, but the point I'm trying to make here is that you can be very creative with your marketing. For example, this guy who created a Red Bull ad on the moon. This is what I mean by creativity. I think it would cost quite a bit of money to send astronauts up to the moon for Red Bull to create a video like this. But as you can see, this came out extremely realistic, and it's also very interesting because it's on the moon. It's more creative, and it would require a lot of effort to actually recreate in real life. So even if you don't end up using this Times Square billboard, my point is that you can do things that would have cost you hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars with Nano Banana Pro to market your product and to post it all over social media. So for the next use case, I'm just going to use FreePic, mainly because I just like this visual canvas. Again, if you were subscribed, you would have seen that I already made a video entirely on FreePic, explained everything in detail and explained why it is a very good tool for AI image generation. And I have a feeling some of you guys are lying about being subscribed, because I mean, 93% of you guys are not subscribed. So if you are enjoying this type of content and you do actually want to see more educational content around AI tools, and if you're still watching up to this point, I believe you're getting some value out of this. I think you're enjoying this video. So don't forget to subscribe down below, because these types of videos, not just for my channel, but in general, these types of videos are going to be recommended to you more. So you're curating your YouTube feed. But as I said, it's super simple. The concept is the same, and you can still do this in Nano Banana Pro, by the way. But I'm just going to import the logo here, and if I click and hold, I'm going to click on Assistant, and I'm just going to say give me a color palette used for this image. We can do the same thing for fonts, for example, or for a character's position. And as you can see here, we have generated now a color palette which I can then create more images out of. The reason I like this drag and drop canvas, by the way, is just because it's super clean, it's really easy to use. So again, you can use this inside of Nano Banana Pro, but yeah, I would encourage you to use other AI tools as well for images for different use cases. Once again, I'm using my logo just for the color palette and just because this is my style. So use your own logo for this. You can copy this prompt, and then this is the result that I got. So again, inside of here, I would probably move the text up a little bit. I would make the box a little bit bigger. But the point is that we have some sort of a caption and some sort of a visual. Now, this kind of reminded me of YouTube Shorts thumbnails, or just YouTube thumbnails in general, because I use AI images for a lot of my YouTube thumbnails, like this FreePic one over here. I didn't create that. I did add the text, but the background over here and everything was a simple AI prompt. Same thing with the one just above my camera over here. This was basically used from another viral YouTube thumbnail, but I just imported my own assets into it, and I just wanted it to replicate this style because it was a proven format. Again, the Diary of a CEO over here, I just took a screenshot and I told it to add a video editing timeline in the background. So using this for social media assets, whether it's for posts, YouTube Shorts thumbnails, video thumbnails, etc., works very well, as you can see. And again, the most important thing here is to give it some sort of direction. So for all of these thumbnails, I gave it the direction of actually providing some sort of an asset. So similar to when I mentioned styles, the asset will give some sort of a direction to the image. And since we're on this video, I might as well just recommend you this video next, because this video is a very interesting video about how to use AI as a video editor. So if that interests you, if you found this video interesting, then I'm sure you're going to find the use cases for AI video editing a lot more interesting. So make sure you click up here somewhere to watch that next. I'll see you there.